we are doing key features of square root equation. So here's your first equation, y equals square root of x. That's called the parent function. Go ahead, and if you do have Desmos, pull it up. If not, you can just look up here. And we're going to type in the square root of x. To do that, you're going to need to click down here at the keyboard. Click at your keyboard and find the square roots next to the ABC. Yep, looks like a check mark. So click down here on Desmos at the check mark, and then you can type in square root of x and look at it, okay? So we have looked at these graphs before a little bit, so that's what it looks like. Okay, let's go ahead and graph it on our papers. So it starts at 0, 0. And on Desmos, can you find another point? Right there, if I click that one, what point is that? 4, 2, okay? So we'll kind of graph that, go over 4. Okay, so 4, 2. So you go ahead and graph it. Okay. All right, let's do the domain. Somebody tell me about domain.
It's the x.
All right, it's your x values. And how do we look at the graph? Left to right. Okay, left to right. So starting here on the left, what is your x value right there? 0. So it goes to 0, and it should be a bracket. And then on the right, it goes infinity. Okay. Another way to write that is that x is greater than 0 or less than 0? Greater, because it's getting bigger, okay? And actually greater than or equal to 0. So there's two ways to write that. So 0 to infinity, or x is greater than or equal to 0, okay? All right, tell me about range. So y values, good. Very good. Good job, guys. Bottom to top, okay? That's your y values. So once again, at the bottom, this one's still at 0. And then the top, remember, it's going to keep getting up and up and up too. So the top, it also goes to infinity, okay? And this time, instead of being x, what letter am I going to put? Y. Is y getting bigger than 0 or less than 0? Bigger, greater than or equal to 0. Okay? All right, intercepts, that's where it crosses the what? The x or the y, okay? So it's where it crosses the x or y axis, okay? It's where it crosses the x or y axis. This one crosses at what point? 0, 0. Okay? 0, 0 is where it crosses the x and the y axis. It crosses both of them at the same place. 0, 0. Okay? All right, here's what's new for today. Here's what's new. Positive is where, and you're going to have to find a spot to write this. I should have left room. But positive is above the x-axis. All right, positive is above the x-axis. So what do you think negative is? Below the x-axis. Okay? So where it says positive, it wants to know above the x-axis and negative below the x-axis. This one's not too bad because the whole function, the whole graph is where? The whole graph is above. So it is positive. It is positive from 0 to infinity. Okay, the whole thing is positive from 0 to infinity. Okay. Okay, now increasing, decreasing is different, okay? That's different than positive and negative. Look up here at the board for a minute. So if I had something that looked like this, is this positive? Yes, because it's above the x-axis. But this one would be doing what? Decreasing. Okay, so they're two different things. Okay, for this one, I always tell students to trace if you're having trouble with it. So if I put my pen here and I trace it, my pen is doing what? It's going up, okay? So it is increasing again from 0 to infinity. Yes, okay? It's increasing from 0 to infinity. All right, end behavior, this will always be a multiple choice question, but the way they write it, as x goes to infinity, so as your x values get bigger and bigger and bigger, what's happening to the y values on this one? Are they getting bigger or smaller? Bigger. They're getting bigger. Y goes to infinity. That's how they write it. Okay. All right, to get your table, you're going to need to go to your calculator real quick and go to your y equals and type in the square root of x. So type in the square root of x. Type in the square root of x. All right, stay after class so we can discuss it. All right, the square root of x, and then go to second graph. And I know it's hard to see, but we're just going to write down the rational points, not the irrational numbers. So what's the first coordinate? 0, 0. Write that down on your paper. 0, 0. What would come next? 1, 1. Okay. 1, 1. Then what? 4, 2. 4, 2. And then you got to scroll down. What's the next one? 16. Then what? 25, 5. And the last one? Where's the calculator getting all those numbers from? They're all the square roots. Is this the square root function? Square root of 1 is? Square root of 4 is? Square root of 9 is? Okay, so that's how the calculator's getting that. Okay. Next one, let's type this one into Desmos, and so go to your front of that, -2 minus 4 plus 3, -2 square root x minus 4. You have to hit the keyboard down at the bottom, and it's next to the... Okay, so going back to my paper, before I fill in any of this stuff, let's talk about first what each of these things do. What does the negative make it do? Go down. It makes it go down. What's another way to say that? Reflect. Okay, so that negative right there makes it reflect. What does the 2 make it do? It does multiply everything by 2. It is a stretch. Okay, it's a stretch. -4 on the inside. Right 4. You have to do the opposite. Okay, right 4. And then the +3, up 3. Okay, y'all should be writing. Y'all should be writing this down. I'm writing it down, and I already know it. You should be writing it down. Let's go. Okay, let's sketch a graph. So it looks like it starts at 4, 3 at Desmos. So I'm going to go over 4, up 3. All right, 4, 3. And then if you click right here, it passes through 6.25. So I'm just going to do a rough estimate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.25. Okay. And guys, it does help if you label what that point is. So that point is 4, 3. Okay. Okay, so let's do domain. So tell me about domain. It's the x, and you look at the graph from left to right. So on the left, what is my x value? 4. Okay, 4 to infinity. Okay. Yep. Okay, 4 to infinity. You could also write that x is greater than or equal to 4. All right, what about range? It's the y. And how do you look at the graph? Bottom to top. Got to be careful on this one. It's bottom to top. Where's the bottom of your graph?
At the 6.2.
It keeps going. It keeps going. Very good. It's negative infinity. It's negative infinity. The bottom of your graph is at negative infinity. Where's the top of your graph?
3.
Good. You have to do the y value, which is 3. Okay? How would you write this one using the inequality symbol? Y is less than. Good. Less than or equal to 3. That would be a less than 1. Okay? All right. Intercepts. Does this one cross the y-axis? No, but it crosses the x, and Desmos tells you exactly where that is. So it has an x-intercept at what? 6.25 comma 0. So Desmos showed us that. Okay. All right, positive is where it does what? It's where it's above the x-axis. So it's above the x-axis right here, this part right here. So that is 4 to what? 4 to 6.25. That's where it's positive. Okay, from 4 to 6.25. Where is it negative? 6.25 to infinity. Okay. No, and here's why. It does get kind of tricky, but they shouldn't have negative infinity as one of the answer choices for this one, so that's helpful. The reason it's not negative infinity is because you're giving the intervals of x. You're given the intervals of x, and so x is going to positive infinity. Okay, is this one increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
It is decreasing, and it's decreasing the whole thing 4 to infinity. Okay? All right, and your end behavior as x goes to infinity. Okay? As x gets bigger and bigger and bigger, what happens to your y values on this one? What's your y going to? Negative infinity. Okay? Negative infinity. All right. Again, the best way to get your table to go back and use your calculator because it has a table feature, square root x minus 4 plus 3, and go back to 0 or where it started at. Okay. All right. Anybody got any points for me? 4, 3, 5, 1. 13, negative 3. Okay, and let's stop there. That's enough for that. Okay. All right, flip it over. All right, using the radical function, what is the domain and range? What would be helpful to do on this one? What would be helpful to do to find the domain and range? What? Graph it. Where should we graph it? Desmos. All right, let's go. Type it in. Let's go. Type in this one. X minus 2 plus 2. Okay. Type it in Desmos. All right, y'all got it in? Okay, so is your domain, is it less than 2 or greater than 2? So looking at the picture, your x values, are they greater than 2? Are these numbers greater than 2 or less than 2? Greater than, okay? And so it can't be A and it can't be D because those are less than, so it's got to be greater than. Is it greater than 2 or greater than or equal to 2? Greater than or equal to. So the answer is C on that one, okay? Number 2, what is the domain of the function? Once again, you should put it in Desmos and look at the graph. So 5 square root x minus 4 plus 3. Where's this one starting at? Starting at 4, 3. Which one would affect the domain? The 4 or the 3? The 4, because domain is your x, okay? Domain is the x value. So that would be 4 on that one, okay? Number 3, on what interval is the function in the right increasing? So if you trace this parabola, is the whole thing increasing? No. So if I start here, what's my pen doing right now? Decreasing. So when it gets right here, what point is that? -2. When it gets to -2, then it starts to increase. So -2 to infinity. Okay. Number 4, the interval 6 to infinity represents which of the following? Is it the set of all numbers greater than 6 or less than 6? Greater than, because it's going to infinity. So you can mark out B and D. Okay. And we haven't talked about this a lot. It's not really a big deal. I just threw this on here. Is there a parentheses or a bracket with 6? A parentheses. So do you know if it's A or C? It's A. Very good. If it's just a parentheses, it doesn't mean equal to. Okay? All right, number 5. Which of the following intervals represents the set of all real numbers -5 to 7, including 7, but not including -5?
C.
Yes, let's talk about that. Okay? So, from -5 to 7, including 7, so you put a bracket if you're including it. So it means it can be equal to 7. It's allowed to be equal to 7. Not including -5, can it be equal to -5? No, but it starts there, okay? So that you put a parenthesis. All right, and number 6, given square root of x and square root of x plus 3, which of the following statements are true? Okay? What do I need to do with those two functions? Put them in Desmos. Let's go. Last one. Put both of them in so we can compare them. Put both of them into Desmos. All right, do y'all have them in Desmos? Okay. All right, the first answer choice says that they have the same what? Domain. Domain is what? From what to what? The left to right. So look at the green one. From the left, where does the green one start at? -3 and goes to infinity. What about the blue one? It starts at? So do they have the same domain? No. Okay. They do not have the same domain. Okay. All right, what about the same range? For range, we do bottom to top, okay? Where does the green one start at the bottom? 0, right? Range is your y, so it starts at 0. What about the blue one? It starts at 0. Do they have the same range? Yes. They have the same range, so that's a check for that one, okay? All right, and then the next two is this weird notation that we keep seeing over and over again. Should the +3 be on the outside or in the parentheses? In the parentheses. Why in the parentheses? Because the +3 is on the inside of the square root, okay? So what answer choice is that? A, B, C, or D? D. 2 and 4. 2 and 4.